Hello, everyone. This is Andrew. Welcome to Atomo. It is January 5th, and there's a lot going on in the U.S. House of Representatives. So it looks like the Republican Party is having a hard time electing their speaker. I'm not at all faulting the Republican Party for it. It's really easy to throw your hands up saying, ha ha ha, it's not working. Look to them. They're so disorganized. The hallmark of a really good functioning democracy is really hardcore debate, making deals, trying to do things to a point where, the hope is here with what's happening is there's a looks like a group of 20 representatives that just, how should I say, it's not that they want to destabilize anything. It's they're running on a value system that looks to be in opposition to kind of the pervasive administrative state that is up and running, that as this plays out and as it has been playing out since the Donald Trumps has been knocked out, you're seeing how effective what they call the organs of the political class are, and as they grow and grow and grow to the point where almost seemingly the elected representatives just don't matter anymore. And what you should be kind of fearful of is if, like in the Democrat Party, they come together really quickly on a particular person. So they brought Speaker Pelosi in, and it's just, oh yeah, it's just one vote, boom, done. Okay, that means that there might have been a lot of, you do this the way we tell you to do this, or there will be sanctions against you. Probably in hushed tones in the hallway in the Democratic space. And it appears okay, they're doing the same thing from the Republican side, but there's a group of people say, you know what, we're kind of done with this sickness. Let's try to make some change here. And with this, what I wanted to do is to show you, I have a New York Times, I guess, columnist who's making some comments, and I'll play the comments and then we'll see where this lands.
Things I've been thinking about watching this ordeal unfold is Fox News's impact not only on the Republican Party, but actually also on Republican voters. I mean, what must the voters who sent these individuals to Washington think of our government?
Right.
If this is who they sent. I mean, when you talk to some of these individuals, you get a sense that, well, politicians are all crooks anyway, and the government's a joke anyway, or, you know what, let's burn it to the ground. And really, that's what these people were sent to do, or to make a mockery of it. I mean, the other element here you touched upon a couple minutes ago, which is just that some of these individuals were people who were really only elected based on a litmus test to stop the tide of diversity in the country, the browning of America, the fears that surround that. And so they were not elected to go do the work of government. And you're seeing that now. It's terrifying. It would be funny if it weren't for the fact that we have real problems in this country that demand problem solvers. And of course, these are not public servants, but they are meant to act as our public servants. I mean, what happens when the next crisis comes? It's disturbing. Things I've been thinking.
So I'll stop it there. It seems like we have a swamp creature here. So New York Times, what are you gonna say? So this swamp creature is basically saying that there's a group of people, the called the Freedom Caucus, a group of 20 representatives that kind of throwing a wrench or throwing a spanner in the works here. And she's calling out that this group is like an anti-diversity, anti-browning of the country. All right, so riddle me this. You look right here, is the gentleman Donald's. The 20 is voting for Donald's. So I'm trying to reconcile what the swamp creature here is saying to the looking like the very diverse person that is Donald's right here. And I had to find one of his quotes where somebody was saying something about him, and are you scared? And he's like, look at me, I'm like 6'3", 240 pounds or something like that. I ain't scared. I just, hats off to Donald's for that. So disgusting swamp creature basically saying, well, since you're not voting for McCarthy, uh, then like you just hear that raises card being pulled out there. That utterly disgusting. That's it. Just showing you, and it's another notch in the I can't even, just lamestream media doing what they do, shilling for the perpetual administrative state, especially New York Times. That this creates this kind of scary situation. The hope here, and the kind of the miracle glow that we want to spray on this, is that this level of resistance that we're seeing right now from the 20 can get other people to come out of their shell, or you bang hard enough on the establishment walls and actually the walls start to cave. It's something that Alexander Solzhenitsyn talked about in his book, The Gulag Archipelago, where that one voice that doesn't crumple, that keeps shining like a massive light. If I use like a 1984 George Orwell thing, you always sees is four lights when they're trying to break down Winston and get him to say, "Oh no, it's not four lights. There's like five lights there." And he's, no, I see four lights, and you keep working on them until they say, "Oh yeah, there's now five there." This is feels like kind of the same thing that's happening right now. It's like to go to another vote. It's like, you will 218 McCarthy, and it's like, you will do this, and the 20 are like, no, we're not going to do this. Well, you will do this. I think even at one point there was threats of sanctions against the 20 should McCarthy get in. Well, of course, once you do that, like basically you don't blow your whole wad and go nuclear right out of the gate. That's just, you can tell the neocon thinking when they basically go to the end state, crank the dial all the way, and don't look at what are the interstitial steps. Like the system pigs always want to go, like they're hogs, they go all the way, and then like to want like the full thing. They don't realize that good layered diplomacy is usually the way you want to go. If you don't get your thing, well, what little thing can I offer? Like like Jagmeet Singh here in Canada offering free dental to the lower, at a certain income level, in order to create this alliance with Justin Trudeau to keep the liberals in power. Like, it's like, really, you only got to that one layer, and then you said yes to create this unholy alliance. So same thing. So that's what worries me, is because neocons don't think in layered nuances. Like the power has gotten so far, so beyond that, to just want to do like an Emperor Palpatine, and everybody does the thing to my will, and then all of a sudden you got like a mace coming up. It's like, nope. As long as no little Skywalker comes by and you know gives the boot to Mace's head. I have to look at Donald's as being like Mace. I should get a meme out, get like Emperor McCarthy and Mace fighting against it and put their faces on it. Maybe if I get around to it, I'll put it together as a thumbnail for this video. Um, so what are some things that could happen moving forward? And I'm talking about this before. They're going to convene tomorrow on January 6th. Oh, what is that the anniversary of? And maybe they'll cement it in January 6th and do some sort of weird, I don't know what they'll do. Some of the things that okay, what are some of the outlandish things that could happen? One is what would just blow my balls off is if the 20 get together with the squad and the Democrat team and basically start to really like just say they want to get together and create a pact with Donald's. Let's kind of think this out. So you get the 20, plus you get the squad in, and then you start to shift votes away from the Jeffries on the Democrat side and McCarthy on the Republican side. Because the other thing is, well, the 20 could go and create a deal with the devil and actually vote Jeffries in and get, some sitting on, because you're basically in kind of a bummed out, like the United States has three entities. You got the executive, you got your Senate, and you got your House. Well, really, if I talk about the three, it's the governmentally elected bodies, it's the executive body, and it's the Supreme Court. And I'm kind of looking at, if I look at the two parts of the House, the lower house and the upper house, or the House and the Senate, needing to work together, but the Senate is Democrat, but there's still potential of somebody in the Senate potentially moving to independent, breaking the 51. I think one of them moved, and that creates like a 50-50 with Kamala Harris needing to go back and doing the tie-breaking votes. Then if there is a deal made possibly between the 20 and the Democrat side, now that might not, for optics, that might look like that would get played so hard. You just think that out as the walking across the aisle. One of the evil things could be is if some Democrats walk across and seal a deal in with McCarthy in order to get him in, for them to get some benefits of being in some select committees. That could happen. Either way, there would be screaming, either if one side goes over or the other side goes over. They most likely, the Republicans would want to settle this within their own party, but by the looks of it, there's factions within the party that are very strong. And I think the 20 know that this is a do or die moment. This is one of the places where the Tower of Babel is starting to break. So it's either, and this is what psychopaths do, is they don't give in or capitulate. They double down on whatever it is that they're doing. They just push much harder for it. So you either have to bust them into two, or you bust them into four. So it's like it's just the type of, when power goes to certain people's head, because McCarthy basically moved into the speaker's office, even though he was not elected as a speaker. He moved all his stuff in. They're like, no, you get your junk out of there. Like, people from his own party writing up to what they call the architect. I guess there's a group within the White House that said he hasn't been elected. He doesn't get to sit in that office. So you could smack it right off of his silly little face. He's not supposed to be there. So where's the deals going? What could I surmise here? it could go there, and really I don't know, so I'm not giving any sort of advice out, just using this for very speculative purposes. I don't know what's going on. Nobody's sending me any messages or anything. I'm just kind of looking at it from an onsetter's point that he's going to have to basically, McCarthy's going to have to neuter himself. He's going to basically have to go take his balls and put them on a platter somewhere and say, at any point you want to serve them and stuff them down my throat, you can do that. The real unholy alliance is if McCarthy gets his votes by swaying some of the Democrats. But on the flip side, there's the unholy alliance that the Freedom 20 go over to the Democrat side. Now, I could see it working from a standpoint that if you have the faction, because here's where someone like AOC could vindicate herself by saying, you know what, there's certain things that I want that my party hasn't given me, that through alliance with the Freedom Party, we can probably get some of the things that we want. And I don't think it would be in the very fringe stuff. It might be some of the core things like, does she really care about the downtrodden, destitute people that she sometimes talks about, and the tax the rich dress that she was wearing, and some of the things like really you had to go and you had to sign to this 1.5. I didn't actually check her voting record, so that's a good one to look at, is whether she voted yay on the omnibus spending package that went through. And then looking at that and understanding is either you had your arm twisted and you had to do it because you got whipped to vote in that particular way, or that you had actually had some dissenting, but we know that it passed with enough Republicans actually voting on it as well. So that kind of creates that uni party meme that comes up. So what I would like to see is somehow some of the Democrats actually breaking ranks and trying to create a third type of faction. Because this is a part where you kingmake and get ready for 2024, and the sides really need to look at this quite strategically. Is you could actually create a way of moving forward in 2024 where you can actually take some of the backbenchers and they could move themselves to almost the head of the line and just see what the big machine does. So my thoughts my thoughts are, again, this is pot odds on this are actually quite low, but you know what? Somebody actually did the thing and put forward Donald Trump's name as a nominee. That's the other thing. Speaker of the House does not need to be a sitting elected representative. They can be, I think, anybody. I don't think there's a constitutional like I think they could elect me to be Speaker of the House. I don't think that it needs to be an American citizen as well. There's nothing in the Constitution about it. So yeah, so that's the thoughts. So I'm predicting that perhaps we see a move across party lines. My prediction is, because I'm being a little maybe optimistic, but maybe naive at the same time, that you get some of the squad actually move in on the Donald side and actually do it to a point that they basically put a whole pause on the thing and saying, you know what, we're gonna make some changes around here and we're gonna lock this thing down. 133, I think in 1856 or something like that, is the most number of times they had to vote to elect the speaker. So we're now in second place right now. So 133 is where we need to go, and that would lock it up for months. But anyhow, just wanted to share my thoughts and my predictions. Let's see how this pans out. Have a good evening.